going to get the call started. Thank you everybody for hopping on the call. This is Joe Johnson. I'm going to be your host today. This is Senior Solutions Agency webinar, and we do this call virtually pretty much every single week. There's a few weeks that we miss because of Christmas, Easter, travel schedules, but I bet you, we don't probably miss more than 3 or 4 weeks throughout the year. So I want to appreciate everybody for taking the time to hop on the call. It's something that Jimmy and I don't take lightly. There's a lot of preparation that goes in. For a 1-hour call, sometimes it takes 5 or 6 hours of work just to put a call together. So it's certainly appreciate the agents that do attend. We have just a couple of announcements before we get started. One is that if you were overhearing what I was saying, travel schedules, I'm leaving tomorrow for spring break with my family, so we'll not be in the office next Friday. So no scheduled webinar on Friday, April the 2nd. I've already removed it from the schedule. And then also I saw we had a couple of new agents on the call. If you haven't ordered your starter kit, make sure you get with me or your agency manager. Let's make sure that we get your kit order so you have all the proper tools. And then Jimmy, I'm gonna turn the call over to you just for a second so you can promote your educational webinar this coming Monday.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joe. Well, guys, I know we don't sell a whole lot of long-term care, but it's something that if you have a client or a prospect that kind of really fits that need, then it would be good for you to know a little bit about it. So this coming Monday evening, I will be hosting a Zoom webinar, and there's the Zoom code there regarding long-term care and options and stuff, planning for that in retirement. I will just say this, I mean, this is not for the typical final expense customer. Most of our final expense customers are probably going to end up using some sort of state program such as Medicare, or rather not Medicare, Medicaid, to do that. But for those folks that do have assets that they're trying to protect, or perhaps, maybe they're just middle income, but for whatever reason, they don't want family members, or maybe they don't have family members that would be available to provide that care for them. So we're going to cover some different options, both traditional and non-traditional options for taking care of those long-term care needs. Thank you, Joe.
Awesome. Hey, Jimmy, just in maybe a sentence or two for those that are on the call that are totally novice, maybe new to insurance, in a sentence or two, can you just, what is long-term care?
Well, long-term care is for those folks that really and truly have mobility problems. Maybe they're not able to bathe themselves or dress themselves, or maybe they need help transferring from the bed to the restroom, or from one point to another. Maybe they need help eating. Maybe somebody has to feed them. It also could be a cognitive impairment such as Alzheimer's or dementia. And most people, if you ask them, Joe, and I know you said a sentence or two, but most people say if they want to have some sort of care, they prefer to have it at home. And I think most people would agree with that. But sometimes there's circumstances that don't allow you to have it home, and those are usually cognitive impairments. Sometimes people with dementia get very hostile or violent, and there's just really not a way to take care of those folks at home, and sometimes they have to go into a facility. But there's different levels of coverage, and really truly that's what it's there for. One other thing I'll say is that you don't have to be retired or elderly. It could be somebody young, maybe somebody in their 30s, 40s, or 50, but they get some sort of chronic or critical medical condition, and they might have a need for long-term care. So
okay, so just real quick, I know you're going to cover this Monday, but with long-term care, there may be a little bit of a misconception. You don't necessarily have to go to a nursing home. Long-term care can also be used in your own home as well, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, all right, perfect. So I don't know if a lot of people, I don't sell, I don't know much about long-term care, so I don't know a lot about it. So very good. Guys, make sure you tune into that. All right, we're gonna hop right into the training part of our call. We are rolling out our new carrier, Sons of Norway. This is gonna be product training on the guaranteed issue and a little bit on their simplified issue whole life product, which is like a final expense product. Now, Sons of Norway, I got to be honest with you, I'd never heard of them. I don't know a lot about them, but coincidentally, I've in the last couple of weeks, I've had several agents reach out to me asking me about Sons of Norway. Apparently, this is one of the fastest growing fraternal organizations out there. They've been around since the 1800s, so well over 100 years. I don't know a lot about their history, to be honest with you. You guys can Google it and research it. We can get, in the future, we can get our rep on, Michael, and Mike can go over, Sons of Norway. What I'm expecting and what I'm kind of guessing, I guess, is that, back in the 1800s when there was a huge surge of people coming into the U.S., a lot of immigrants, there was a ton of discrimination against, immigrants, whether it was, the Irish, the Italian, all different types of people. And what I'm suspecting is that these people from the Norwegians also experienced that. So what a lot of people did in certain groups is that when they couldn't get loans, they couldn't get bank accounts, they couldn't get life insurance. Basically, they just got together and formed their own companies. And I'm speculating that that's how Sons of Norway got started, 150 years ago, is that they started it and they've, been in business that long. Now it's open to the public. What I can tell you is that when your clients sign up, it is a membership program. So they become members of Sons of Norway. Now, I'm not familiar if there's any extra benefits. There must be, because in order to be a fraternal organization, not for profit, you have to be giving back to your clients. So that's something that we can do in the future. We can have an expanded webinar on why sell Sons of Norway and more of the some of the benefits. Today, I just kind of gave myself a crash course on these two specific products. They do have other products that look really good. So let me go ahead and just kind of hop into the training. What we're going to do is we're going to be covering the guaranteed issue first. And a lot of you may be thinking, why do we need another guaranteed issue company? We already have, Americo has a guaranteed issue. We've got Gerber, Great Western, AIG. And we're going to get into that. And if you are checking us out, maybe for the first time, or maybe you're already an agent with Senior Solutions, if you are interested in getting more information, please subscribe to our channel. Like I said, we put out new content every single week. And if you subscribe, that will make sure that you get you're able to go back and look at all the webinars that we've done in the past. And also you can select the notification so you get notified as well. Here is a list of the states that are currently approved. I have no idea if they're in the process of expanding, but here it is. I believe it's somewhere around 37 to 38 states, something like that is what they are. So maybe take a screenshot, or if you're on this call, take a look at your state, see if you're on there. Thank God they have California, because it seems like there's a lot of carriers, for whatever reason, kind of neglect California. So thank goodness we have California on the list. So take a look, see if your state is on there. Now, guaranteed issue highlights. I'm just going to kind of highlight some of the things. Here was one of the major reasons why we wanted to get contracted with Sons of Norway. That is the issue ages. Ages 0 to 85. Okay. Jimmy, I mean, I've been in the insurance game since 2000 and early spring, about this time of year, 2009. Okay. Everybody asks, hey, what do we got for, I've got a client, they've got a young child, or, I know someone who's in their 20s, they have cancer, they have, you know, uh, mental issues, they can't get life insurance, can we get them insurance? And the answer was always no, 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 no. And then, we got Protection Plus, which is great, but that's a increasing term insurance. So for the first time, we have a company that will offer guaranteed issue down to age 0. And knock on wood that I don't know how long they've had this product, but I'm knocking on wood that it sticks around for a long time and they don't discontinue it. As far as the maturity, you pay on it until you die. Basically, does build cash value. Face amounts, they go down as low as 5,000, maximum of 25,000. Let's see here. Anything else? As far as the payment modes go, yeah, you can do monthly. They call it AWP. You can do annual. There's only 2 underwriting classes. It's either male or female. And as far as the death benefit goes, let's see, it's a 24-month graded period. If they die within that time, it's a return of premium plus 4.5% interest. So a little bit lower than what the industry standard is, which is usually about 10%. But when you take a look at their premiums, I think the customer will deal with that. All right, that's pretty much it as far as what I want to cover as far as the highlights. And I'll get into submitting applications and different things like that. Like I said, I gave myself a crash course on this as well, so I'm learning it as kind of you guys are learning it too. But FEX Toolkit, guys, if you're not using FEX Toolkit, you should get signed up. We've got Sons of Norway activated. I ran a quote. This is I ran it on a male age 65, $15,000 worth of coverage. Sons of Norway, if you're going to notice, is going to pop up number 1 for guaranteed issue on your FEX Toolkit. Guys, look at the rate, 106. You compare that to Gerber, which has always been the cheapest, 127 for Gerber, 135 for AIG, 136 for Great Western. So even if you look at Gerber, I mean, they're coming in $21 less expensive on a $15,000 policy. They're coming in $21 cheaper than the best that we had before. Guys, $21 is significant. That's a big deal for someone who's on a fixed income. The other thing, go ahead, Jimmy. You had something you want to?
I said it sure is.
It is, and not only can you save them money, but it also gives you the ability for your client to purchase more insurance. So what I mean by that is that if your client has, let's say they have a budget of $130 a month, maybe they can get $18,000 or $20,000 of coverage versus the $15,000 they would have got with another carrier. The other thing this is going to do is it's going to prevent your policy from getting replaced. So a lot of times what will happen is that someone will have to go, let's say you meet with a client, and this has happened to me before, you meet with a client and man, they have they just got out of the hospital for open heart surgery, or, they're in the middle of cancer treatment, but they really want insurance. So what do? You sell them a guaranteed issue policy. Well, 2 years later, they're cured, or 2 years later, after their heart attack or major heart surgery, they have gone past the normal grace period for other companies. So a lot of times these guaranteed issue policies can be replaced because you may have an agent that could come in 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 years later and actually able to get them a better rate than what their guaranteed issue was, even though they're 5 years older. But with the Sons of Norway, it's really going to kind of protect that. Number one, you're starting out with a a very competitive rate that is probably is not going to be beat. And because they've already been in the policy for 2 years, they've already gone past that provisional period, the 2-year graded period. They've already surpassed. So big reason to have Sons of Norway in your portfolio. The other reason to have it is just to be competitive, because if you have a client that needs guaranteed issue and they meet with another agent and that agent happens to be contracted with Sons of Norway and your best deal is Gerber, you ain't going to get the deal. Not being 15, 20 bucks higher, you're not going to get the deal. So you kind of need it from a competitive agent. And again, just FEX Toolkit, it's on there. If you're not signed up with FEX Toolkit, I just promise you, you're really missing the boat. So contact me. Let's make sure that we get you signed up. You can have a free 14-day free trial to try it out before you have to pay for it. And it's only, it's 114 bucks for the whole year. You pay 114, you have it for a year. So you don't have to worry about making monthly payments to it. Okay, as far as commission goes, now this is where Sons of Norway, to be honest with you, they're not the best. They're a little bit stingy on their commission rates, but we were able to negotiate a very good an MGA contract with them. So this is the commission grid for Senior Solutions agents. They have, and so you can see right here what we're going to be looking at, the guaranteed issue whole life. This section, I'll just put like an arrow right here. So if they're in the 0 to 75, it pays 50%, which is relatively competitive because we're offering a very high contract. They have contracts that start as low as 30%. Like that's their normal street level contract, 30%. So we're coming in 20 points higher than street level. They do have a 55% and even a 60% contract level, but it does require proof of production. You have to, as an example, and they're very strict on this, to get a 55%, you have to have, it's $50,000 a year. So it's not a ton, but it's still quite a bit if you're only selling guaranteed issue. $50,000 a year of production with them, you can get your contract increased to 55, and then to go to 60%, you need $250,000. You need 250,000. So probably more like an agency to get up to the 60%. And then we're going to be covering their whole life product, their final expense product, which pays 90%. So not the best, but it's also not the worst as well. And then here's the renewal schedule. So for the guaranteed issue, if they're between 0 and 75, you're at 4% across the board for the first 10 years. Then it drops down to 1.6. And if they're over 75 up to 85, that's another thing too, is that their guaranteed issue goes to age 85, whereas some companies, let's say Gerber only goes to 80, right?
Yes, sir.
And I think AIG, didn't they reduce theirs down to 80 as well?
I thought they're still up to 85, but it's so expensive. It's
they may be, but I think I don't know. I'd have to check it out. You guys can check it out. I think AIG might have reduced their guaranteed issue down to 80, but I'm not 100% sure. So on renewals, you take a pretty significant haircut as far as renewals go. If they're over 75, you're at 1.3. But I tell you what, something is better than nothing. So this is the commission schedule for everybody. All right, simple.
Right, Joe. I just played with the FEX Toolkit, and AIG only goes up to age 80.
Well, there you go. Thanks for clarification. So there you go. So you got a guaranteed issue company that goes up to age 85. And then the only company that we have that will go to age, we actually have GTL, Guaranteed Trust Life. It's almost guaranteed issue. That goes up to age 90. So, man, we got pretty much a product for just about everybody, which is exciting. As far as their simplified issue whole life, this would be more their traditional final expense. This is the one that pays 90%. I don't really see us selling a lot of this, but if you're in a situation where you need to beat a deal or you need to replace, like, you're meeting with a client and they've already gotten coverage, at least you have something that you can go in, and if they're in reasonably good health, that you can get them coverage. Issue ages 0 to 85, and I believe, let me just take a look. Yeah, so it looks like their whole life product only has one commission level. It's 90%. So whether you're selling it to a 1-year-old or an 85-year-old, there's no haircut in commission, and the renewals are the same across the board, 4.5%. So let's take a look at some of the highlights for their product. Ages 0 to 85. Let's see here. Yeah, cash value, refund to members, dividends. I'm not sure really what all that's about. We'll probably use it to purchase additional insurance. Like I said, I'm learning this product as well. Face amounts. So for younger clients, they do have a slightly higher threshold than other final expense companies. So if your clients are between the ages of 0 and 59, the lowest face amount is 25,000 up to 50,000. So what this is telling you is that if you've got a client that is looking for, let's say, a little bit more coverage, and you're trying to really have that competitive advantage with low rates, this is where I think Sons of Norway really may shine. And then if they're over the age of 60, they drop it down to a $10,000 face amount. But what I like about this is that, have you ever gotten that client that maybe budget really isn't a concern, and they're in their high 70s or 80s, even maybe 82, 83, and they're looking for $40,000 or $50,000 of coverage? I mean, it's not like it's something we run across all the time, but now you've got a carrier that can kind of fulfill that niche, because they'll go up to 50,000 on an 85-year-old, provided, again, they're going to meet the underwriting criteria. And again, as far as underwriting, it's either it's standard tobacco, non-tobacco, and juvenile. I think that's pretty much it, what I want to cover on there. There's a couple of riders for your younger clients. They do have a guaranteed purchase option. That's going to be for clients, let's see here, only premium charges up until issue age is 0 to 35. And they do have a children's insurance rider. But if you look at the ages that you can do it, this is really, in my opinion, it's not really geared towards grandchildren, more for children, because the child rider, the person that's buying the insurance has to be between the ages of 18 and 55. Now, you could have a 55-year-old, obviously, that has a grandchild, which you could add on there. But what I like about this is that with the child rider, if you are maybe getting someone covered and they want whole life, they're in their 30s or 40s, early 50s, and they have younger children, is that you can go up to 20,000. That's quite a bit higher than a lot of other carriers as far as what the child rider will go up to. And then it's good until age, you can issue ages 14 days to 17 years old. So basically until they have their 18th birthday, and the coverage ends when they're 22. However, at age 22, they can convert it up to 5 times the amount, which if you maxed it out to 20, that would be $100,000 of coverage. So that's a little bit about that rider. Now, their simplified issue product. This product is not uploaded, not available on FEX Toolkit as of yet. Only the guaranteed issue is on FEX Toolkit. So you do have to run, if you're in that situation where you're trying to steal a deal, or you're trying to come in behind another agent, and maybe replace a policy, you're going to have to do the calculation manually. I've already got it installed on my phone. So once you get your credentials, if you're interested in contracting with Sons of Norway, once you get your credentials, then you can download it to your phone. You can run quotes on your phone just like you do with any other carrier. But I use the same scenario as I did on Guaranteed Issue. I've got a male age 65, this time non-tobacco, face amount of 15,000. You can see our top 6 carriers are all within about $5 of each other. You got Foresters leading the way at $80.64. You got Oxford at 81, Liberty at 81, Mutuals at 83, Trans is at 83, CFG is at 85. Those are the ones that come up ranked number 1 as far as pricing. Sons of Norway, $64.93. It's beating the best by, what is that, 16, we'll call it 16, 15, 16 bucks a month. This is almost, not quite, but Jimmy, but this is almost roughly about the same price as the Mutual of Omaha GIWL if you guarantee the rate to age 120. Wow. It's within a few dollars of that product. So what it is.
I was ask you on the underwriting, is the underwriting on this SIWL similar to Living Promise or similar to GIWL?
Kind of in between.
Kind of in between, okay.
Kind of in between. They're a little stingy. It's not, I mean, you can't have the lowest rate in town and have the most liberal underwriting. Those two just don't, they won't be able to keep the product very long because the losses are going to, take over. But I'll go over a little bit of the underwriting. I've only submitted one deal myself, and it was a guaranteed issue product, and I did it online. It was over the phone. It was easy peasy. Another thing too, which I didn't get into, you can sell this product either face-to-face or over the phone. So you can do an e-application. If you do an e-application, you actually sign for the client. There's no like email that they have to sign, so you just sign for the client. You should be verifying their identity. You don't necessarily need to be doing like a Zoom call, but you're supposed to verify their identity. So maybe what you can do is you can have the client send you like take a picture of their driver's license or something like that. So you're doing your due diligence and you're verifying the person that you're speaking to. So let's see what I got. Let's see what slide I got. Those are the rates. As far as the underwriting goes, this is what they do. They do an MIB. They do a motor vehicle. I don't know if they do that on everybody. If there's I don't know if they're going to be doing a DMV check on a 75-year-old. They may have an age cutoff. They do a prescription check, and everybody gets the personal health interview. Okay. Now, here's the thing I'm not a big fan of, Jimmy, and with this product is that there is not available. Sorry about that. Let me turn my phone off. There is not a PHI or there's not a point of sale phone interview available. So basically how it works is that you do your application, whether it's paper or e-application, and then you let your client know within the next few days they're going to be getting a call from, and I believe they're using Exam 1 to do their call. So not as easy as the other carriers. So you do have to make sure that they get that phone interview completed. And unfortunately, at this point in time, you cannot do the phone interview at the time of sale. Okay. Like I said, and I think Sons of Norway, I think they're definitely probably going to take over the #1 spot as far as our guaranteed issue product. And again, guys, I'm not promoting Sons of Norway like, hey, this is going to be your go-to final expense carrier. You should use them. I'm not pushing them like that. Keep using whatever you're using, but use it for those unique situations where you do need to be super competitive and where you're able to go in behind other agents and replace business with a great product and a cheaper rate. Here's where it talks about the personal PHI is going to be done by Exam 1. So within a day or two after the app is submitted, once they get it in their system, they're going to turn it over to exam one. Exam one is going to reach out. So we really, if you're selling the product, you're really going to have to make sure you do a good job of letting your client know the process and that there is going to be a phone interview done. As far as the health questions go, basically they have about a 5-year look back as far as the health questions, and these are there's only 3 health questions. So, but they are rather expansive. So they have a 5-year look back as far as cancer goes. They do ask about AFib, pacemaker, heart attack, implants, bypass surgery. Now, the thing that's a little bit different about this application, it's not a knockout application. So they are asking within the 5 years, but let's say you have a client that had a heart attack within 5 years, but you still want to get them approved, you can mark yes, and you can still submit the application, and they'll review it. Here's one as an example. Within the last 5 years, cirrhosis, which I think is a knockout. There's a list of knockout health conditions. Let's see, hepatitis, chronic B, C, let's see, chronic disease of the liver, kidney, or diabetes. Now, we get a lot of people that have diabetes. So it's asking, have you been treated for diabetes in the last 5 years? That probably include, probably 50% of our clients. You can mark yes that they have diabetes. And then you just list their medications, and you want to expand a little bit on their diabetes. So it's not just because they have diabetes, as long as it's controlled, it's not a knockout. So that's what's a little bit different about this application. It's not a true final expense app where, if they answer yes in the first set of questions, it's an automatic knockout. Not necessarily. And then you do want to do, which is a little bit different than the other carriers, they do want the agent to do a good job of listing the prescriptions, and then also put down details what they're using it for. As you guys know, a lot of medications are dual use medications. Just as an example, if your client has diabetes, what you want to write on the app is you just want to do a little questionnaire. Ask them how long they've had diabetes. What medications are they taking? Has your doses been increased or decreased within the last year? What was your last A1C? And do you have any issues related to your eyes, kidneys, or circulations? Okay, so those are just some of the things that you as a field underwriter, that you should be asking if they have diabetes. Here's a list of the acceptable and not acceptable items. So as an example, acceptable, if they have, here's just some things like anxiety, arthritis, basal cell cancer, high blood pressure, as long as it's controlled, chronic pain, as long as they're not on the heavy duty opioids. Here, diabetes, controlled, blood sugar, acceptable. Diabetes smoker. So here's one. If you got somebody who's diabetes and they smoke, they're not going to give them coverage. Like I said, they're a little bit stingy on their underwriting. Diabetes with organ issues, diabetes with rateable obesity, maybe. You need to send it in and have them take a look at it. Oh, here's one, COPD. COPD is not an automatic knockout, so it's potentially acceptable. If they smoke or they're on oxygen, obviously that's going to be a non-acceptable. But if you have that client that has COPD and they're a non-smoker, just depending on how chronic it is, they potentially could be accepted and be able to be offered coverage under this program. We don't run across people with epilepsy or seizures, but as long as it's well controlled, that's acceptable. Let's see, heart disease diagnosed, treated in the last 5 years, potentially acceptable. Heart murmur. So you see a lot of things on here are potentially, if they have thyroid issues, those are obviously sleep apnea, that's an acceptable rate. So so you just kind of have to take a look at it. So the way I'm kind of looking at this is that if you're, if your client is in good health and you're really trying to be, come in and have the most competitive rate, that's where you may want to use this if you have competition. Or what I would make sure is that I would only use this for clients that haven't had any major issues within the last 5 years. Okay. Again, I'm going to say this again. We're not looking at this particular product as replacing a carrier that we have. It's simply an addition to. The main reason why we're getting signed up with Sons of Norway is for that guaranteed issue product. Height and weight, you can see they're not that great with height and weight. We have a lot of clients probably in this, I don't know, what would you say, 5'1" to, probably 6 foot range. So if you're a male, average height, let's say 5'9", you need to be roughly 250 or less in order to qualify. Where some of our other vendors, you could be 285, 290, some of them maybe even close to 300. So again, that's a little bit of a knock on their height and weight. Financial, they will take a look at your client's financial situation. I don't think this is ever really going to be an issue. They allow you to get plenty of insurance. I don't know if this really applies to their simplified issue whole life product, but just as an example, if you have a client that's, let's say 70, 75 years old, 5 times their income. So even if they're, even if they're only making 800 a month, 800 times 12, that's 9,600 times 5. That would still give them $48,000 eligible of coverage. So I don't think this is ever going to come in play. I think the financial underwriting chart is more for the other products that they have, maybe their term product. Really not going to apply. And that's really it. I think we knocked this whole thing out a little bit quicker than what I expected. Let me just see if
I have questions, Joe.
if we have any questions. All right. Well, hopefully I can answer it, Jimmy. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, but go ahead. And what is your question?
So my first question is, do you know what the chargeback time frame is on this guaranteed issue?
Yeah, I do. That's a good point, and I meant to cover that and I forgot because it's actually on the comp sheet. Okay. It is right here. It's a 2-year schedule. So if your client passes away due to natural causes, you're going to get charged back in the first 2 years. If it's an accidental death, there's no chargeback. Or if they lapse their policy, there's no chargeback. Unlike AIG, who lapses back for lapses. So it's right here. Let's see. GIWL.
What's the time frame on the lapse?
For Sons of Norway?
Mm-hmm.
There isn't any.
No? Oh, so it must be paid as earned.
Oh, yeah. It's everything with them is paid as earned. Even all their products are paid as earned.
Okay, that
There's
makes
no
sense.
advances. They do offer 100% advance, but nobody offers it. So with them, it's either as earned or 100% advance. So there's no in between. So everyone signs up for as earned. So here, I'm just going to read this to you. Guaranteed issue whole life. If death occurs from a non-accident cause in the first 2 years, the following percentage in paid commissions will be reversed. If they die of natural causes in the first 6 months, it's a 90% chargeback, which is still better than Gerber or AIG. They're 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You still get to keep 10%. If it's within 7 months to 12 months, it's 75%. If it's 13 months to a year and a half, it's 50%. And if it's between the last 5 months, 19 to 24 months, it's a quarter. It's 25% chargeback. So that is the schedule. And guys, this webinar has been recorded. So when you sign up, obviously you're going to get a copy of the commission schedule. And I like the fact that they put that in there as a disclosure. And I meant to cover that, Jimmy, but I totally forgot. Let's see if we have any other, guys, raise your hands if you have a question, and I will unmute you. And Mr. Mitchell has a question. Let's see here. Gregory, if you unmute yourself, you can ask the question, and I will try to answer.
Joe, would this Sons of Norway cover someone that's HIV positive?
The guaranteed issue? Absolutely. There's no questions at all.
Okay.
So basically, as long as they can fog a mirror and have a bank account, you can get them coverage.
Got it.
Good question, though, because a lot, we say guaranteed issue, and then a lot, well, what if they have AIDS, though? They're not going to cover them if they have AIDS, right? Or HIV positive? Yeah, they'll cover them. Absolutely. Thanks for the question. Any other questions, Gregory?
No.
Thank you, sir. Let's see if we have any other questions. Let's see, we have Robert. Hi, Robert. Please unmute yourself. Mr. Munoz, Robert.
Okay. Hey, Joe.
Good morning. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, just fine. Listen, if they're in the hospital recovering, can we sign them up in the hospital?
Only on the guaranteed issue, not the.
Yes, if they're in the hospital, we can use this product for guaranteed issue. Just verify.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they could be in a nursing home. You just don't want to go signing people up that are terminal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't use, if you meet with someone, what I do, if I meet with someone and they've got a bad diagnosis, like, listen, the doctor only gave me 6 months to live, I'm just going to tell them, I'm being honest with you, I said, this is not a good product. You guys should, talk to a funeral home and start making payments to do a funeral. Would be the right part. Yeah, but they could be in the hospital as long as they're able to acknowledge the signing of the application. Now, what you cannot do is you can't sign people up and have relatives sign them up for their behalf. Like I get a call from a client, oh, Joe, my my father is in the hospital, he's in a coma, he really needs insurance. No, we can't sign that person up. They have to be able to acknowledge and be able to do the application themselves, even though we're technically, we can sign for them, but they do need to be, I guess you would say, cognitively aware that they're purchasing insurance and are agreeing to it. Let's see if we have any other questions. So they can be in a nursing home or, assisted living. That's not a problem. Just because you're in assisted living doesn't mean you're dying. And then they may have like a long-term care package or something like that. So Jimmy, any other questions for me?
I don't have any other questions, but I do want to just kind of highlight something. What's really key about this, Joe's, for me anyway, it's not so much the 80 to 85, but it's for those folks that are under age 45, because oftentimes we will come across people that don't qualify for a quote unquote final expense product because they're too young, and so and if they're younger than 45, right now, previous to Sons of Norway, the only option we had was a guaranteed issue term life that had an increasing premium. But now you can offer somebody, maybe they are currently receiving cancer treatment or maybe they're young, but they're on kidney dialysis, or they, just maybe have, a heart condition or something that normally would disqualify them from any sort of coverage. It could even be something as simple as diabetes. I've come across people in their 30s that are diabetic, and insurance companies don't want to cover them. This gives you a solution for those folks because it's guaranteed issue. There are no health questions. So I think it's a great opportunity, and I love the name. Sons of Norway, just to me, is just like a power name. It sounds really cool.
Yeah. Hey, do me a favor. Do you have, I know you ran that quote earlier. Do you have FEX Toolkit? Do you have it up on your phone?
Yes, I do.
Just take let's just take a 35-year-old male or female, whatever you want to do, 35 years old, and tell me how much 20,000, max it out. Let's say 25,000 of coverage. How much is it for guaranteed issue?
Okay, 35. Oops. I need to, okay, I can't do it on the light. I got to do it on the full. Okay, so
Yeah, you got to do it on a full and then toggle down and make it just guaranteed issue. My guess is they're the only one that's going to pop up.
Yep,
Well, Jimmy's doing that
pops up. So I have a 36-year-old male, $25,000, $57.35.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Dude, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's a really good rate.
$50 a month for 25K of whole life for someone that is chronically ill or just, out of control diabetes or whatever. All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Let me just see if we have any other questions. Probably want to know how you contract with this company. Well, they are Sons of Norway, unfortunately, is not part of the Integrity Group. Out of all the carriers, they are, agencies that they have, Sons of Norway, kind of their motto is they like dealing with smaller MGAs. So it is not available through our normal channel through SuranceBay. So if you are interested in getting contact me, send me a text or an email, and I will send you the contracting link. It is through SuranceBay, but it's through a different portal. You need to sign in as a new user in order to get this company. Before we sign off, let me just see if there's any other questions. We don't have any other questions. All right, everybody, thank you very much for attending today's webinar. And again, if you are interested in contracting with Sons of Norway, just contact me personally. We'll make sure we get you the link. All right, Jimmy, have a great weekend, brother. We will
take care. Enjoy your trip.
All right, man. Thanks, everybody. All right, God bless. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.